Welcome, welcome. So, the first part of fear that we discussed is normal, reasonable, and very healthy. It gives us a signal. It's not a bad feeling, it's a signal of caution, and we spoke about how to deal with it. Then there are fears that are unhealthy fears, and that's what we'll discuss in part two, that we need to address. They're unhealthy, yet they cannot be mocked. Now, what happens is when a person goes through a trauma, if they know it or not, or they're aware of it or not, or they remember it or not, then the part of the brain called amygdala begins to play tricks at them. So, for example, it will not allow them to go to public transportation, not into elevator, not into a plane. And because people don't know this and haven't studied this, they usually go with logic and start talking to the person. Now, here's the three things that really go wrong, and to some people with other conditions, even to suicide. One, as an adult, if I'm 15, 25, or 70, regardless of my age, and I know that I am scared of something that's not logical, because let's say a plane, there's more chance to get killed when you walk on the side of driving a car than in a plane. There's tens and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of planes, private or public, commercial, that are taking off and landing, and it's only in months or in weeks that there's only one accident. So the person is frustrated. Why? Number one, the person is frustrated why they have this phobia, this fear, this anxiety. Number two, that usually happens, the person beats themselves up. So not only am I losing out in life and having the freedom to do what everyone else does, and they don't even realize how beautiful it is, and I cannot do it. I know some people would drive for days and days just to avoid a plane that could take them a 2-3 hour flight. They beat themselves up. Number three is the worst. Number three is because most people don't know how this works. Because of our ignorance, we judge with our ignorance, not with our intelligence. And we go, I don't understand. We begin to use logic. We don't understand this part of the brain does not respond to logic, will not change to logic. And we know logically it doesn't make sense. And the list goes on. The worst is when it comes to intimacy and people are embarrassed to talk about it, that when they want to engage in something that's pleasurable and enjoyable, they actually get a panic attack and they're fearful. It is so overwhelming. So the way, very briefly, because I could spend 4 hours now, the way the amygdala works is it does not know the difference of past, present, and future. And by the way, that's the part of the brain that to me freaks me out. I don't hear rabbis or scientists talk about it, although I'm sure someone does, but I never bumped into any book or any lecture about this. It's the part of the brain that is totally spiritual. It does not know the difference of the past, present, and future. And that's godliness, that's spirituality, where the past, present, and future is really one. So when someone is scared to go into an elevator, that part of the brain tells the person that there is a danger. There's a danger. And by the way, if you try to go logical with the person, tell them there's no danger, this elevator, you're safer here than, you're safer in the elevator than right over here. I mean, you're just very safe. That, in a way, that even triggers the amygdala to produce more fear. It's like when a child needs to be comforted, secured, when they fell and they hurt themselves. When you say it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing, because you're trying to calm them down. I'm not saying to overreact and make a big deal. You'll see their intensity of their fear, their intensity of their reaction will only intensify. There is various skills and various therapies of how to go about it. But when someone says, I am scared to go under a bridge, I'm scared to go into a tunnel, I'm scared to be intimate, I'm scared to go in public transportation, in an elevator, in a plane, whatever that might be, just listen to them. The best you could do for them, which almost no one will do, and you don't have to be a doctor or a therapist, just ask them what it feels like. Ask them what it feels like. Ask them what their body feels like. Ask them how much before they anticipate, how much before they go into the elevator, into the plane, will they have this anxiety. Some people go through for days before they fly. That's what I do within my life coaching. I usually use NLP. I use my own therapy that I designed and I put it into writing a few years ago, which is called separation therapy, which is basically built on exposure therapy, but it has a beautiful bonus that exposure therapy doesn't have, although exposure therapy is powerful. Psychotherapy, which I stopped using it a lot because it takes forever unless you're retired and you want to spend all those hours, days, and weeks. When you come to me within a few sessions, sometimes even one session, you could snap out of this fear, and it's too long to make a video clip from it. There's a lot of stages of how to communicate with the amygdala. The amygdala will not listen to hours of lectures. The amygdala will not listen to anything of reality. The amygdala has a very special language that will convince it that it's not a danger. Me, myself, one of my greatest phobias, which it still is, but it doesn't stop me, is a dog. When I was 10, a dog chased me when I lived in Montreal as a child, and it would bite on my boot. I was wearing them boots, it was in the winter, and I was yelling and screaming and crying. The worst thing is there was adults around and sort of no one came in to kick in. It's okay, I guess they were scared as well. And I ran for life, and that dog kept on biting and biting and biting. I guess it was just playing a game, but it did bite. For years and years, because I didn't know psychology, I tried to avoid it. So if I saw a dog in the park, I took a detour. If I walked on the sidewalk, I would always cross the street, and I did the worst thing in the world, is to avoid it. And what I did was I gave that phobia, that anxiety, that fear, I gave it a lot of respect, which only makes it even larger. Today, I use the therapy on myself, and I pleasantly walk by dogs. I could have them jump on me and be totally on me. Am I totally fine? No, but 90% or 93% of my anxiety is gone. Send me an email. You deserve to be free. You deserve to live a life, and you don't have to. That's not you. Anxiety is not you. Fear is not you. If you have a smelly shirt, or you have a dirty shirt, or you have a shirt that you don't like its colors, you're not meant to live with it for the rest of your life. You could buy another one and change it. Sometimes it's hard to believe because we have looked at that shirt for 10, 20, 30 years. Working with people that are even older than me and seeing them drop anxieties that they had schlepped and dragged around with them for 40 years is really unbelievable and phenomenal. And I hope one day all people will be able to use this type of therapy, NLP, exposure therapy, or my therapy that I created, separation therapy, and totally be free in this wonderful, delightful, tranquil world that God has created for all of us to rejoice and to relax. Thanks for listening.